Hi, today what we're going to do is look at what thesis statements are, or at least should be. And this time we're going to focus on some information through the College Board's eyes. If you look at the College Board, they have a website that helps you understand the basics of what they're looking for in their material. This is taken from their website. According to them, a thesis tells the reader how you will interpret the significance of the subject matter under discussion. Note that it's not asking you to tell about the subject matter, but interpret the significance, which is a really key difference. A thesis is a roadmap for the paper. It should tell the reader what to expect. Nobody likes to jump into a paper and not know where it's going. And for you guys, one of the most important aspects of a thesis is this third one. It directly answers the question asked of you. It is an interpretation of the question. It's not giving the content itself. But the College Board goes on to say that it's a claim. In the case of AP Lit, it is an insightful interpretation of aspects of the story not everybody would see. And it's usually a single sentence somewhere in the beginning of your paper. Now, I want you to keep in mind that this is from the College Board, and these expectations of thesis statements go through all the different versions of their test: the poetry analysis, the text chunk analysis, the whole book development. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask that you read this and find the thesis. So pause this video so you can look at this and find the thesis. Well, welcome back. I would think that maybe you're having a little bit of trouble because when you look at it, you can't find a thesis because technically there's three. In this thesis, which scored a 9 in the College Board, there are 3 thesis statements. In reality, it's the same idea 3 different times, which is kind of cool because this reinforces the same idea and yet it doesn't sound repetitive. It didn't sound boring. How did it not sound boring? Well, I think because it paid attention to the red-green idea that we're really trying to emphasize here in AP Lit. Red is the technique. What did the author do? What tool was used? What literary strategy was there? And green is, why did it matter? What's the lesson? So what? If I take a look at my 3 different thesis statements, they all have red and they all have green. Notice the first one. In The Boxman by Barbara Lazar Asher, the protagonist reveals that a life of solitude need not always be lonely. So I know that the literary technique used was a protagonist or characterization. And I know the lesson is a life of solitude is not lonely. Let's look at the second, same version of the thesis. Though the Boxman lives a life of solitude as a homeless wanderer, Asher describes his grand design and grandmother finger-licking. Okay, so I have some specifics from the text. That's a technique. What's the importance? To convince readers their assumptions about homeless people are unfounded, that the homeless can live a dignified life. That's the so what. I'm not going to read the next one, but I want you to look at it. It's again the author's tools, and again the so what. What's the moral? What's the message? All thesis statements should have this. What are some of the details that are used, and what is the effect? Let's go on. I think we've already done that one. In the bottom line, you are expected to know the thought elements for your writing task. And you are expected to pre-write the different avenues through for your response. And you should know a narrow purpose. You should know exactly what green you're going for. And you should limit the red. You shouldn't talk about the whole book. In this case, it was only characterization that was looked at. Now, I'm going to ask you to stop. And I'm going to say, what did you learn in this little bit? What new understandings might you have about thesis statements from simply looking at this one high-scoring thesis provided by the College Board?